Okay, welcome to Bhakti Steps. We'll continue from chapter 13 where we had stopped. There are prayers on my screen. You can repeat with me. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuktapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tom Sajivam साद्वैतम सावधूतम परिजन सहितम कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विशुभानुसुति देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So welcome again to Bhakti Steps. We were in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Which talks about nature, enjoy, or consciousness. Arjuna asked the question, what is nature? What is this Prakriti? What is Purusha? What is the field? What is the knower of the field? And knowledge and object of knowledge. So out of which we discuss what is the field. The body is the field. Hmm. Who is the knower of the field? The Jivatma and the Paramatma. Both. Both are knower of the field. And we had a table drawn here to understand how come soul, super soul, they differ from each other. Okay. And today Krishna is going to talk about knowledge and object of knowledge. He's going to talk about that. Okay. So one of the longest purports in Bhagavad Gita as it is. Okay. Let's see. Hmm. Uh, Longest purport here. So we won't be able to read the whole purport. We will go through table and we will discuss. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment from freedom, from entanglement with children, wife, home, and rest, even mindedness amid pleasant, unpleasant events, constant, unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever they may be, is ignorance. So Krishna gives a huge list to tell, this is knowledge. Everything else is ignorance. Etat jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yad ato anyatha. Ajnanam yanatha. Jnanam. All this is knowledge, otherwise it is ajnan. Okay. Before we go into it, okay. I think the first few. Okay. Let's read this whole first paragraph. So, someone please volunteer to read this whole paragraph. Can you please? Can someone read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Read.
This is not the interaction of the 24 elements as described before. This is actually the means to get out of the entanglement of those elements. The most important point is described in the first line of the 11th verse. Mai chai Mai chananya yogena bhaktir avya vicharina.
No, you read the whole thing. Okay, okay. Sorry, sorry. Go ahead, go ahead.
The process of knowledge terminates in unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. But if one takes to devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, then other 19 items automatically develop within him. Transcendental life begins when one. Prabhuji, can you scroll up?
Ah, yeah.
Transcendental life begins when one accepts a bona fide spiritual master.
Okay. So all these qualities are not because of interaction of uh, the 24 elements. Okay. This is actually means to get out of entanglement of these elements. Um, the most important is described in the first line of the 11th verse. Mai Chananya Yoga Bhakti Yoga. Well, you do bhakti. How do you do bhakti? By surrendering to spiritual master. That's the simplest way and that's the perfect way. Okay. Transcendental life begins when one accepts a bona fide spiritual master. Prahlad Maharaj, who was spiritual master of Prahlad Maharaj? Narad Muni. Who was spiritual master of Dhruva? Narad Muni. Like this, if we keep going right, we will always get that for a devotee there has always been a spiritual master, a guru. And then his bhakti flourished. So that is the key. Hmm? So, okay. So now we'll get into the table. Humility. Humility means not to be anxious to have satisfaction of being honored by others. We uh, we like to hear our own praises, right? Somebody saying, "Oh, you are beautiful," or "You talk very nicely," or "You walk very nicely," "You dress very nicely." We like to hear such things. We feel happy. Humility is that we are not looking for people to honor us, right? That is the meaning of humility. If we want people to honor us, then we are not humble. Hmm? We are not humble. Um, there's the other side of humility. Should we always practice this humility? Yes or no? Trinadapi sunichena tarunapi saishna manina manadena kirtaniya sadhari. To be humble like a blade of grass. Should we always be like that? Grass is blade of grass. Grass is on the ground. People stamp on it. It doesn't protest anything. No protest. Does this is this the humility that Bhagavad Gita is talking about?
Prabhu, yes, but if somebody is against your spiritual master or your Lord, then only you should speak against of that person.
Okay. Um, so humility, right? This thing is it's not like thinking that, oh, I should not get honor at all. Okay. If someone is at a post or something, like a teacher or a king, you know, and if he doesn't get the honor, then he can protest. Why? He cannot at that time say, oh, I'm very humble, I don't have any honor, I don't expect any honor. Why like that? Why he cannot say such thing? Because it is the post, right? The post has to be given respect. If the post is not given respect, then a humble devotee will actually protest and say that this post needs to be given respect. Okay, so this humility is like we should not think that always we should not be honored by others and all that. That is not the way. If there is a post that we are on, that post should be given honor. And like one example was given here, if the spiritual master uh, is challenged or is abused or any something bad is said, then you should not say, oh, I'm very humble, I tolerate all this, right? At that point, one should be, you know, um, establishing dharma, establishing the right principle over there. There's another example from Ramayana, which everyone knows. It's about Hanuman. Hanuman lit the whole Lanka, right? He put it on fire. But Hanuman at the same time is the most humble person. Why did he put the whole Lanka on fire? Does anyone know?
Prabhu, I think he was challenged that what he will do.
What? Sorry?
What he was challenged by someone, I believe, what the that what he alone can do. I
What?
think in the Sabha when he went, he was
Uh,
humiliated. Someone, they abused him, and that's what he got angry, and then he did.
yeah.
He was not given the
See,
respect for.
the thing was not that he was abused. He saw.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually, can I say in Hindi?
बोलिए बोलिए.
हरे हाँ जी प्रभु जी, क्योंकि हनुमान जी जो थे वो अपने अपमान से ज्यादा भगवान के नाम का अपमान किया, इसीलिए उन्होंने ऐसा किया, क्योंकि वो खुद का अपमान तो संभाल सके, लेकिन भगवान के नाम को
Right.
जो डिसरेस्पेक्ट दिया गया, इसीलिए उन्होंने ऐसा किया.
That's the right answer. See, they disrespected Lord Ram and abused Sita, and they made a fun of the Dut of Lord Ram, and he wanted to teach a lesson that you need to understand that if a Dut can do all this, what to speak of Ram and his big army. So, out of great anger, this most humble person burned the whole Lanka. So here's the thing: this humility, right? There are some devotees, some pure devotees, who in every state will be like, I don't want any honor. That will be there, okay? But at the same time, some devotees may act differently, like Hanuman, he will bring out anger and he will put that in the service of the Lord. But some devotees won't even mind that. Hmm? They will take everything on themselves, like that. So, in general, for us, we are sadhaka devotees. We are having our own problems, like we are having our own anarthas, bad qualities within us. So, for us, this is a very apt definition to be not to be anxious to have satisfaction of being honored by others. So, as far as we are concerned, we should be very careful in looking at ourselves, thinking that, am I looking for honor, respect here or not? You know. So among devotees, we should not say that, hey, I am a senior devotee. You need to pay obeisances to me. That kind of mentality we should avoid, basically. And we should see that everyone is our master and we are their servant. So that's the humility for us as sadhaka devotees. But as pure devotees, they may act in very different way. You know, they may never ask for honor in any situation actually. So yeah, it's a tricky thing. Pridelessness is not to be anxious to be famous for one's religion and entering into group, not actually following principles and wanted to advertise as religious mentor. So we are studying Bhagavad Gita, and after 1 year of study, 2 year of study, we will remember some shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. That is bound to happen. 1 2 shlokas, we will know the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. We will know every example and argument, because now we are philosophically studying, right? But if we try to use that whole knowledge to become famous, then that is called pride. And that is anartha. So there are many religious gurus, so-called religious gurus, who are very good in talking, and they can tell many points here, there, and they are very expert in talking. They can give answers very nicely, very apt answers they can give. But they are looking for that quality of famous, that I want to be famous. That's why they're telling like this. So that's actually wrong advertisement. And we see so many people around, every year some scam comes out. One religious person caught in some scam, some abuse, some exploitation. So where there is pride, there is fall. Pride leads to fall. There's a proverb like that, right? So whatever we learn in Krishna consciousness, we should not become proud of that knowledge. That knowledge is supposed to make us back to point number 1. What is point number 1? Humility, amanitva. So pride will lead to fall down. Like Ravana, he could please Lord Shiva, and he became very proud. I have pleased Lord Shiva, I have pleased Lord Brahma also. And he was considered as a Brahmana also, but he started doing all kinds of wrong things out of great pride. I have 10 heads. If you cut even one head, another head will come up. That pride was there within him. So with that pride, he would exploit many people. Many women he would exploit. Ultimately, everything came to end. So like that, pridelessness. Non-violence. Non-violence, ahimsa, in a very straightforward means no violence. But the deeper meaning for non-violence is not to put others into distress. Meaning, unless one elevates one's to spiritual knowledge, one is practicing violence. Try your best to distribute real knowledge. Meaning, if someone is in distress and we have the solution, and if we don't give that solution, then we are committing violence. That is what it means. Okay. Non-violence has multiple meanings actually. First, let me explain the right meaning of it. Non-violence means to be violent. Sorry. The strong needs to be violent to protect the weak from evil. Do you understand this statement? If there are weak people, of course every society has these weak people, children, old people, women. In general, they are weak. So the strong person needs to be violent to protect the weak, and he has to be violent against the evil forces, right? That is also called as non-violence. It is not called violence. It is called as non-violence, ahimsa. Okay, ahimsa means, non-violence means, to protect the weak from the evil, one needs to be violent. That is the deeper meaning of non-violence. Second meaning of non-violence is what we read. Not to put others into distress. This has two meanings. Straightforward meaning is, don't put others into distress, right? And another meaning is, if we have the solution, but if we don't give the solution, then we are allowing the other person to continue in the distress. That is violence. Right? That is violence. See, there are two kinds of violence. One is a silent violence and one is a actionable violence. Meaning somebody is violent, we can actually see from our eyes. Yeah, he is violent. He is hitting everyone, this, that. Actionable. And other is, when somebody is not doing anything, that is also violence. Yes or no? You understand this point? Do you? See, when Draupadi was getting insulted, Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya didn't stop it, right? Okay, let's take this example. Draupadi getting insulted, okay? Now tell me the list of all violent people in this. Can you tell me in this pastime, in this story, who were all the violent people when Draupadi was getting insulted? Tell me the names.
Duryodhana, Dushasana, and that all
Duryodhana
brother.
and his friends. Okay, Duryodhana, Dushasana, and Karna, and his uncle. What was his name of uncle? Shakuni. Shakuni, right?
Yes. Yes.
And who all were also the violent people?
Everyone except
People who were
Tell me.
everyone except Draupadi.
Bhishma Pitama and Panch Pandava also.
Okay, how come Bhishma Pitama?
Because he is a strong person.
He
But
he
he
could
needs
have
to-
protected, but he didn't use his power
That's
to
what
protect.
I'm saying. See, one is actionable. By the actions we come to know they are, violent. And one is non-actionable. They didn't do any action. They are also violent. So they are allowing Draupadi to continue in her distress. Therefore, they are violent. Getting? So that's the two meaning of non-violence.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
हाँ.
प्रभु जी, मेरा एक डाउट है, क्या मैं पूछ सकते हैं मुझे?
बोलिए.
प्रभु जी, यहाँ पे जो भीष्म पितामह है या फिर द्रोणाचार्य है, वो नॉन वायलेंस तो है, वो बाद में पता चला, लेकिन वो खेल के हिसाब से कुछ रूल था जो कि वो तोड़ नहीं सकते, इसीलिए वो चुप रहे. तो क्या ये उनकी मतलब नॉन वायलेंस का एक हिस्सा है?
Okay, good question. See, when dharma is concerned, right? Dharma means what is the right thing to be done at that point. Yes? धर्म का मतलब है कि उस टाइम पे क्या हमें सही करना है, right? Yeah. So when that situation came into that Draupadi's insult story,
Okay.
yeah, at that point, some considered the game is more important. Like you said, the game is more important. The rules of the games are more important.
Okay.
right? Vidura
Yes,
considered
Prabhuji.
no. Rules of um, rules of protection of weak is more important.
Yes, sir.
ये अबला स्त्री है, इसकी तुम इतनी अवहेलना कर रहे हो, that to protect her is the great dharma than the rules of,
Okay, that game.
yeah. So
Okay.
you know, see, this is also dharma, one has to follow the rules, right?
मतलब that time उनको वो रोल तोड़कर उनको प्रोटेक्ट करना ही
Wait,
पहला
I
उनका.
I'm not finished. See,
Okay.
at that point, following the rules of the game, that is also dharma, right?
Yes.
But there are other dharmas also, and now we need to choose which is the higher dharma among the all. You getting?
Yes, Prabhuji.
A very simple example, cricket game. You know, take the example of cricket game. The game is going on. Okay, the game is going on. Some fielder gets hit on his head and blood start coming out. Now, according to the rule of the game should still continue. But there is a higher rule to that. That if a sports person is injured, you need to evacuate him. You need to give medical attention to him first, right? So that
Yes.
rule overpowers that other rule of game, that you should not waste time. Getting? See, in
Yes,
one
Prabhuji.
sense, it is wasting time to evacuate that that fielder, right? But there is a
Yes.
higher rule to that. The higher rule is you need to protect, you need to give medical aid. So when multiple dharmas are there na, we have to choose the highest dharma, like that.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay.
इसको बोलते हैं धर्म युद्ध, धर्म द्वंद्व.
Hmm.
So in that we have to choose the higher dharma. Now in Bhagavad Gita itself, the same situation comes. Let me just show you. It's in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So probably we'll check from here only. Uh, just hold on. There is a section that comes here. Prabhupada also mentions it. Yeah. Aggressors. So you know, the dharma, Vedic injunction says that 6 type of people should be killed actually. A poison giver, one who sets fire to house, one who attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders riches, one who occupies another land, and one who kidnaps a wife. Such aggressors can be killed. Okay. But Arjuna is saying, we should not kill such aggressors. Why? Because they are our friends. They are my grandfather and teacher, right? So one dharma is family dharma. I have a relationship with them, right? Another dharma says, hey, they committed a crime. What is the crime? They insulted your wife, They tried to kill you in fire. They are attacking you with deadly weapons. They are taking your land, right? All of this fits in, right? Duryodhan gave poison to Bhima, isn't it? So Duryodhan and party are aggressors and they have to be killed. But Arjuna is saying, no, no, they are my family members. I have to protect my family members. So this dvanda is there. Swajana, my own, versus aggressors. Aggressors, the word that he has used is atatiyanah. Where it is? Atatiyanah. Hatvaitan atatiyanah. So you understand that even in Bhagavad Gita the same dvanda is there. There are many dharmas. Right? We have to protect our family, right? And second is aggressor. Now, a simple way I give this example is, if a policeman sees a crime happening on the road, okay, but his own brother is committing the crime, then what he should do? You tell me what he should do. He sees the crime is getting committed, his own brother is doing. What he should do?
He should not break his rule. No, the rule is everybody
Yeah, so at
get
that point he should see that yes, my dharma is to protect my brother, but I have other dharma, hmm, which is to follow the rule of law, right? And that
yes,
is greater than the family dharma. Therefore he should go and catch his brother who is committing the crime, right? Stop him, put him into jail, right? At that point he should not think, oh, these are my swajanas, these are my own people, how can I do that to them, right? So yeah, so if we don't act by that dharma, then we become violent. Okay, that is another meaning of violent. Okay, so I hope you understand the both meanings of violence and non-violence. Okay, so for this tolerance means to be practiced to hear insult and dishonor from others. When insult and dishonor happens for us, we will tolerate it. But if it happens on spiritual master or someone else, we won't tolerate it, right? That is what is meaning of tolerance. If it is happening to us, we will tolerate it. But if it happens to someone else, we won't tolerate it. That is the meaning of tolerance. Now, still, I would like to ask one question. If somebody is abusing you, do you want to apply this quality of tolerance at that point? Someone is abusing you. Let's say within devotee, or let's say within family, within society, within company. Will you apply this tolerance in all these situations?
We will try to tolerate beyond the limit, to the limit, but when it is crossed the limit, we should not tolerate.
But here, Bhagavad Gita is saying that you should tolerate all insult and dishonor.
I am not completely knowing the Bhagavad Gita, but as far as I know, we should never let somebody to, to discourage the self respect. We should always maintain the self respect of ourselves,
Okay.
and we should only tolerate that much that can be bearable. Even in Mahabharat, um, everybody, the Pandavas also bear the insults as much as it was limited. But when Duryodhan poisoned Bhima, they left the Hastinapur and they started living somewhere else in Vanvas.
they accepted the exile rather than being in the Hastinapur and always be in the threat of somebody will give us poison.
Okay. So the thing is now, tolerance means to definitely to insult, dishonor, right? But when it comes to abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, we cannot apply this tolerance.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Yeah.
आप प्रभु जी शिशुपाल का एग्जाम्पल भी दे सकते हैं। भगवान ने एक लिमिट तक उनकी जो थी वो सहा, उसके बाद उन्होंने उसका भी प्रतिरोध किया था।
Yeah, good. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does say that we need to be tolerant like a tree. Okay. But when it comes to abuse now, we should not be tolerant. We should come out of that situation.
Okay, sir.
In spite of that, we see Prahlad Maharaj not coming out of that situation. He was abused, right? He was thrown from the lap of his father. He was poisoned. He was put into fire. He was put in the well of poisonous snake. He was tried to be tortured by knives and tridents, thrown from top of the mountain. Okay. So his example is there, and at the same point, we are telling that we cannot tolerate abuse. How does both of the things gel with each other? Do they gel, or are we talking opposite things? Any comment? I'll give you a simple example. We hear sometimes, many cases where a wife is being abused, mentally abused, sexually abused, physically abused, and she continues with the marriage. Okay. And one fine day something happens, she gets angry, something volcano happens, and she hits the husband or something like that. And it is found, like many cases such found, like in that case they found that actually the wife was under terrible violence, and that's why she kept tolerating, and then um, we have heard such stories, right? So is that expected from us or not expected from us?
हाँ प्रभु जी, हरे कृष्णा।
Yeah.
प्रभु जी, मतलब टॉलरेट का भी लिमिट होना चाहिए ना।
Yeah, but in case of Prahlad Maharaj, उन्होंने कुछ लिमिट ही नहीं रखा.
है।
See, Prahlad Maharaj didn't keep a limit, right? But whereas we are trying to say that there should be a limit. How do we reconcile both? See, we can reconcile by understanding कि प्रहलाद महाराज कौन थे. प्रहलाद महाराज शुद्ध भक्त थे. ओके, हम शुद्ध भक्त नहीं है. ओके, हमें तो साधना करना है, भक्ति करना है. So to protect ourselves, we will be tolerating to a limit. You understand? We won't tolerate abuse. Okay, we will tolerate insult, dishonor, fine, but not abuse. In case of Prahlad Maharaj, he tolerated everything. Insult, dishonor, abuse, everything. Physical abuse सब हो गया उनके साथ. Insult हो गया, dishonor हो गया, सब हो गया. But we need to understand Prahlad Maharaj का level क्या था, उनका अधिकार क्या था, what was his qualification. He was a pure devotee, so he could do that. We are not pure devotees. If we continue in the abuse, na, what will happen? What will happen? Can anybody tell me if we continue under some abuse?
डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाएंगे ना।
क्या हो जाएंगे?
Our sadhana will go down.
फिनिश हो जाएगा हमारा तो।
Yes, ultimately we will give up our Krishna consciousness. हम ये सोचेंगे कि यार मैंने उसके ऊपर इतना भरोसा रखा. I kept so much trust on that senior devotee or on that senior person in my family, and what he did, He abused me. Now I'm not at all interested in this now. I'll give up my bhakti, I'll give up my everything. Right? So we see such examples. So when Shastra talk about this, it gives both examples. Okay, it gives Prahlad Maharaj example also, जो कि एक extreme है, and it gives Draupadi example also. Now Draupadi was also abused by Kechika. Kechika was a very strong person, and that time, all the five Pandavas were living under disguise in the Virat kingdom, and this Kechika was he was the head warrior in that kingdom, and he had a bad eye on Draupadi. Now Draupadi came to know this, and she was insulted also. There's a story to it. So she went to Yudhishthir Maharaj. She said, this person is doing this bad things to me. Yudhishthir Maharaj said, no, what to do? What to do? We have to be under disguise, otherwise we'll be in problem. Hearing this answer from Yudhishthir Maharaj, she went to Bhima, and he said to Bhima, he's troubling me. Then Bhima said, okay, what you do is you call him in one night to this particular place, and I'll be sitting there. So Bhima takes a sari and he sits, with the sari on. And this Kechika thinks Draupadi is here. And the moment he touches, Bhima punches him and makes a football of him. Actual football. His head is inside the body, his hand is inside the body, his leg is inside the body. Like that. And he kills him. Now Bhima is also devotee. Right? We can tell him, Arey Baba, you have to be tolerant. But Bhima will say no. It is up to a limit. Right? Abuse cannot be tolerated. There is zero tolerance to abuse. Okay? We need to understand this thing. But at the same time, we see Prahlad Maharaj example where they will tolerate abuse also. Why? Because they are at a very higher level. We are not there. So we have to work at our level. Does that make sense? All these qualities, right? They will always have a two side to them. One will, a pure devotee will show complete humility, complete pridelessness, complete non-violence, complete tolerance. A pure devotee will show all these things. But it is meant for a pure devotee, okay? For us, we are at a sadhana level, so we need to come down. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yes, Prabhu. It will make sense. Yes.
Okay. Now, simplicity. Simplicity means to be straightforward to such an extent that even we will tell the real truth to our enemy. Now, my question to you is, will you do this thing? Will you disclose a truth to your enemy? Simple. Yes or no?
No, Prabhu.
Baba, but Krishna is saying you have to be that much simple. And you are telling no. So you are going against Bhagavad Gita. How are you going to reconcile both?
We are not at, I am not at that level that I can able to share everything.
See, the point to be understood is that when our life is threatened, when our bhakti is threatened, then we need not be this simple, okay? Samjhe? When our life is threatened, when our bhakti is threatened, we need not be that much tolerant. Getting? This is how we need to understand. If we tell to our enemy our truth and that enemy is going to kill us, we need not be simple, okay? But again, that simplicity was shown by Jada Bharat, who was taken by dacoits, and they thought this is a madman. We can give human ahuti, what is it called? Manushya ahuti to goddess Kali.
I think right.
Kya?
Bali
Bali. Bali. We can give this Bali of Jada Bharat, who is like a madman, to goddess Kali, and she'll become happy. And Jada Bharat knew this, but he was straightforward. I don't care. See, that is his level. Even though when his life was threatened, he was that simple. But when it comes to us, वी आर नॉट एट जड़ भरत प्योर लेवल, राइट? हमें अपनी लाइफ बचानी है क्योंकि हमारा भक्ति भी अधूरी है, राइट? So to save our bhakti, to save our life, we need not be that simple. समझे अभी? So interestingly, this simplicity is without diplomacy, right? See, even our acharyas practice diplomacy. I'll tell you one example. Our acharyas also practice diplomacy. We read, na? So these are our six acharyas, you know. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Out of this, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, there are two brothers. Sanatan Goswami is elder brother, Rupa Goswami is younger brother. Rupa Goswami is the one who wrote Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, which you will all study. Okay, both were ministers in their kingdom. But when they came to know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they decided that we want to join his movement and dedicate 100%. So when they were ministers, they used to give, you know, false reasonings to Nizam, Nizam of Bengal, that, you know, we are sick, we are not coming today. And this kept on going for months. One day the Nizam came himself and he saw what are they doing. And he saw they are chanting Hare Krishna, reading Bhagavatam, and they are associating with Brahmanas. He's saying, you are not sick, you are giving me false, you are the ministers of this kingdom. Then they both said, no, we are not interested now, let us go. Then he said, no, you cannot go. He put both of them under imprisonment. Now, after some time, both of them, with use of diplomacy, they bribed the jailer. They bribed the jailer and they ran away. Now, these are our acharyas. And this is Bhagavad Gita, which is saying we should be simple. But whereas our acharya himself were not simple. Why did they act diplomacy? To save bhakti, to save their life. You understand? So that is the balance point. But even with saying that, we will see some pure devotees not taking to that path. Example I gave you of Jada Bharat. Example I gave you of Prahlad Maharaj. They won't consider these things. Why? Because they are at a very higher level. For them, death or life is same. For us, it is not same, right? We are fearful of death. So we have to act according to our adhikar, our qualification. Getting? I hope any questions on these points? Any questions on these points?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
Yeah.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
हाँ,
प्रभु जी, इस सिचुएशन में मतलब अभी आपने जैसे कि सिंप्लिसिटी में हम लोग को हमारे लिमिट के अनुसार सिंप्लिसिटी भी मेंटेन करना चाहिए, बैलेंस करना चाहिए. अभी जो कलयुग है, हमारे आसपास के चीज में बहुत सारे गलत काम हो रहे हैं जो हम लोग मतलब सामने आकर बोल नहीं सकते कि आप वैसा करें, ये गलत है, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे हमारे लाइफ को भी प्रॉब्लम होती है. तभी क्या हम लोग को चुप रहना चाहिए कि बिकॉज हमारे लाइफ को ये प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है, तो तभी भी हम लोग को क्या चुप रहना चाहिए? मतलब सिंप्लिसिटी मेंटेन
I understand your situation. You know, I understand your situation. We are seeing some criminal activity, and you know, if we tell, our own life will be in problem, definitely. So yeah, in such situation, it's a very tricky situation. In such situation, we should try, you know, how we can say and still be not identified. थोड़ा वहां पे सावधानी बरतनी पड़ेगी, और at the same time, you know, there's a word cunning. Cunning को हिंदी में क्या कहते हैं? Cunning. You know, बुद्धिमत्ता दिखानी पड़ेगी.
कुटिलता.
हाँ, कूटनीति भी दिखानी पड़ेगी.
शातिर प्रभु.
हाँ, शातिर. तो you know, we may not be shatir, but some other person may be shatir, you know, and they know how to handle this situation. So in case of Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, they were ministers, so they understood ये jailer लोग कैसे bribe दिया जाता है, because they were working, they know how to make things. So for them it was kind of easy to do that thing. We may find it difficult, we may be very too simple people, so we have to learn from others. Those who are practical, right? We have to learn those practical things from others also. Getting? So there is not a straightforward answer, but we have to try.
हरे
We have to try
हरे
in such.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी
Yeah.
प्रहलाद और महाराज का मैंने बहुत टॉलरेट सामने सहा, तो ये क्या ह्यूमन लाइफ के लिए
See the
सही है कि गलत है?
नहीं, गलत नहीं है. The thing is, for Prahlad Maharaj, that was natural for him. ठीक है, उनके लिए वो उतनी सहन शक्ति सब कुछ रख सकते हैं. ठीक है, वो भाव भक्ति में विलीन थे, उनको स्वयं भगवान आके प्रोटेक्ट किए. ठीक है, इन आवर केस, क्योंकि हम साधका भक्त है, वी शुड नॉट टॉलरेट अब्यूज. वी कैन टॉलरेट सम इंसल्ट, सम डिसऑनर, फाइन, बट अब्यूज नहीं. वी शुड कम आउट ऑफ सिचुएशन, बिकॉज अब्यूज से क्या होगा? अब्यूज से अपनी भक्ति में बाधा आएगी, अपनी भक्ति को प्रॉब्लम आएगा, और अपने लाइफ को भी प्रॉब्लम आएगा. So to protect our bhakti, protect our life, at that point we should come out of it. We should not be, continuing to be tolerant.
प्रभु जी, मेरा एक सवाल है. हमें ये कैसे पता चलेगा whether this insult is slowly turning into the abuse? Because it's a habituate, it's a habit of.
Like, I was giving this example of, I recently studied, read that there was this wife who continued being abused by the husband. The husband was very manipulative and all that, and continued to be, continue that abuse. And then she lost the, I would say, intelligence or the power of thinking that, something really bad is happening to me. She lost that thing. So the answer to that is that we should be having good friends in our circle, wise people in our circle, unbiased people in our circle, whom we can open our heart and say, and they can tell us, ये abuse है या नहीं है, ये ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, वैसा होना चाहिए. You getting? Most of the abuse happens because that person had nobody to share with. You understand? And whoever he or she shared with were not qualified enough to be wise to tell them कि अरे ये situation से बाहर निकलो. You understand?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So yeah, so we should have really wise people as our friends, and then one or two, and then when we open our heart to them, hopefully they can tell us. Okay. Sixth point, accepting a spiritual master. Like I said, bhakti starts, or let's say bhakti starts, bhakti nourishes, bhakti increases, and we start doing correct bhakti when we approach spiritual master. And we approach him with humility, not with challenging mood, and we offer our services, and then we ask questions, and then he gives us corrective measures. That is our relationship with spiritual master, and then we advance. Getting? So bhakti increases when we accept a spiritual master, and it corrects also. We are on the right path when we have a spiritual master. Okay? If the spiritual master is bona fide, if the spiritual master is in the parampara, then serving such a spiritual master is great. Our bhakti will be always protected. In Shastra, there comes an example of Bali Maharaj. His spiritual master was who? Shukracharya, right? But Shukracharya said him a instruction which was opposite to the Vedas. What did he say? Oh, this Vamana is actually Vishnu. He will take away everything from you. Don't give him anything. A spiritual master says that one should surrender everything to Sri Vishnu. But here Shukracharya was saying completely opposite. Don't surrender. At that point, Bali Maharaj gave up his spiritual master, Shukracharya. And because he was grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, he knew that one should give everything to Sri Vishnu. So he said, okay, I'll give you the 3 steps of land that you are asking. Right? So at one point we have to accept a bona fide spiritual master, and another point is we have to reject a unbona fide spiritual master. Okay? It means both. Getting? Any questions on that? Any questions?
Prabhu, I have question on non-violence.
Go ahead.
Prabhu, in office we see so many people are in distress, but when we tell them, okay, there is a center just nearby 700 meters, you should go there and you should meet somebody, then they will not accept it. And now we have stopped telling them these things. So
what center are you talking about?
Like Prabhu, IBC center.
Bhakti center.
Yes,
In
Prabhu.
sense, there is a Bhakti place, you are having trouble, you go there, and
Yes.
right?
Yes,
That's what you're
Prabhu.
telling, right? Yeah. So your question is?
So Prabhu, like this thing is happening again and again. Like that person, like people keep going into distress, but they don't want to go. So are we wrong? Like we should tell them every time, or what should we do? Because if the one person is in distress and we are not telling them correct how to come out from distress, that is also violence, right?
Yeah, good. So good question. See, we need to understand one thing also. We can bring a horse to a pond of water, but it is the horse who needs to drink the water, na? We have
Yes,
heard that
Prabhu.
proverb, right?
Hmm,
We
hmm,
can
hmm,
bring
hmm.
the horse to drink the water, but the horse should finally drink it, na?
Okay.
Yeah. So we can try, but if it is not working, what to do?
Okay. Got it, Prabhu. But we should tell every time whenever they are in distress.
Yeah. See, and again, few things we need to understand. Okay. There can be different types of distresses that people are having. Okay.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah. In sense, some may be having mental distress. Now,
Hmm.
if they're having mental issues, then our bhakti center or temple, right?
Hmm.
It can help to a certain extent, but the real help will come when he goes to hospital. You understand this point?
Yes,
So we
Prabhu.
should
Got it.
not think that bhakti is a solution for everything. Okay, ये अगर किसी का हाथ फ्रैक्चर होता है, you cannot say go to temple.
Yes.
So we need to understand क्या डिस्ट्रेस है और उसका क्या जवाब देना है. हर डिस्ट्रेस को टेम्पल नहीं बोलना है. ओके, समटाइम डिवोटी मेक दिस मिस्टेक. हर डिस्ट्रेस को टेम्पल बोल रहा है. अरे क्या है, मेरा हाथ टूट गया और तुम मेरे को टेम्पल जाने बोल रहा है. So such mistake we should not do. We should also be practical.
Okay.
So I'll tell you one example. Prabhupada was in Mexico and he was giving a lecture. And while giving the lecture, he talked only for a few minutes, and then afterwards he turned to devotees and said, let's do kirtan and distribute prasadam. You know why he said that? Because he saw, the people over there were not ready for philosophy only. उनका लेवल ही नहीं था फिलोसफी सुनने का. So he said, okay, fine, just प्रसादम दो और कीर्तन करो. So yeah, so वो आइडेंटिफाई करो, हर चीज को टेम्पल मत बोलो. And again, a pure devotee may say that thing, okay? And interestingly, even though I am saying this, there was a pure devotee whose name was Tukaram Maharaj. Once his own son was having fever, and his wife came running to him. What, you are chanting this Vitthal, 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 Vitthal? Here our son is dying with great fever, and you are just saying Vitthal, 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 Vitthal. Huh? You have no concern for your son? And Tukaram Maharaj just replied, Vitthal, 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 Vitthal. Take him to Vitthal, everything will be fine. This is what he said. Okay, but we need to understand that Tukaram Maharaj was pure devotee, okay?
Yes, Prabhu, yes.
It so happened that by the mercy of Vitthal, his son got cured. Okay, in our case, it may not happen, okay? So we should not try to be that, okay? We should be
Yes.
on our practical side and, Aisa. Pure
Got it.
devotee may say certain things, वो pure devotee का मामला है, that he has that capacity, he has that adhikar, he has that qualification, he has that level. We will work on our level. Our level is, अगर किसी के साथ बुरा भी होता है ना, we should never say that, okay, तुम्हारा कर्मा था. We should never say, this is your karma, okay? That's why. No. That answer is only given by whom? Who can say such thing? This is your karma?
Mentor only.
No. Not even mentor.
भगवान को डिसाइड करना चाहिए ना प्रभु जी की.
Only Yamaraj can say this thing. Why? Because he has kept all the hisab. Yes or no? सब कुछ हिसाब उन्होंने रखा है. He can say, अरे ये तुम्हारा कर्मा है, ये देखो पिछले लाइफ में क्या किया था. You understanding? So there is a qualification to say even this thing that, ये तुम्हारा कर्मा है करके. So anything happening to any devotee, any person, we definitely know behind the scene there is karma playing. But we need not go and explicitly say ये तुम्हारा कर्मा है. Okay, इसके वजह से तुम इतना difficulty में जा रहे हो. No, that is not our position. Our position is what? Can you tell me in that situation what a devotee should do?
Pray to Lord, Prabhu.
ठीक है, pray to Lord. Any other thing? Actionable.
जाके उसको हेल्प करना चाहिए प्रभु जी.
Yes. If he needs medical help, go and give medical help. Okay. If he needs food, you need to go and give food. That is our dharma. In case of Yamaraj, he may not do these things. He will directly say, "ये तुम्हारा कर्मा है करके." Okay. But that is Yamaraj. That is not we. So at our level, we are not supposed to say तुम्हारा कर्मा है करके. We have to do actions. We have to do action of help. And whatever that help may be then. Medical help, I don't know, financial help, some help in some kind. So that is expected from us. Okay, so we have 1 hour, we are done. And we completed till 6th thing only. There are others also, 20. So that we'll do tomorrow. Okay. Any last question? Anyone has any last question? Okay, no questions, then we'll stop.